Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about direct costs. Andrew Carnegie, who knew quite a bit about business, once said, "Gentlemen, watch your costs." So it's clearly important to think about our costs. This video is part of a series that helps us understand what is important when we are creating a financial model for our business. If you haven't seen the previous videos, click on the link popping up on the top right hand corner of your screen, or click on the link in the description box below. So let's get into it. So what are direct costs? Direct costs are those costs that you incur so that you can make a sale. It's that money that you have to spend for you to be able to sell something to your customers. For example, Apple makes iPhones. For Apple to sell an iPhone, it needs to procure OLED screens, which it actually buys from Samsung. It needs to procure, say, speakers, or it needs to procure cameras. Some of the things it makes in-house, some of the things it buys. All those costs that go into the iPhone are direct costs. Even things like the salaries of the factory workers, those are direct costs. So what is important while you're modeling direct costs? So the first thing that is important while modeling direct costs is separating out each component. Rather than model the direct costs as one large unit, you should ideally separate it out into the individual components, and this helps you to understand the impact of each component and control that cost much better. So for example, in our financial model here, we have 4 components. We have the purchase or manufacturing cost, which is what it actually costs us to either buy or make the unit. We have our logistics cost, which is what it would cost us to bring in the item to our facility. We have sales commissions that we have to pay in order for us to make the sale. And then we have other direct costs. So we can see that our purchase cost is 10, our logistics is 8, our commissions is 6, our other direct costs are 4, making a total of 28. So by doing it this way, we can see what percentage of the total cost of 28 is our direct purchase cost and what portion is commissions, for example. And this helps us understand our overall cost build-up in a much better way, and hence we're able to control each component. And the second thing that we need to think about is price changes. Now, prices typically end up being different to what we'd expected. So they could either be higher than what we expected, or they could be lower than what we expected. If the prices are higher than what we expect, then we'd call that our worst case scenario. If the prices are lower than what we expect, then that would be our best case scenario. So if you go to our model here, we can see here our scenarios. We have our base case, which is our typical case. We have our best case, and we have our worst case. So we are saying that in our best case scenario, our prices are 10% lower than the base case, while in our worst case scenario, the prices are 10% higher than our base case. So we can see that from the base case of 28, our best case has a lower price of 25, and our worst case has a higher price of 31. And if we go to our scenario switcher here, we can switch in between the different scenarios. So we can switch to our base case, or we can switch to our worst case. And when we go to our working stub, so if we leave it on our worst case and we go to our working stub, we can see that the cost per unit is $31. If we go and switch it to our base case, you see that now the price has changed to $28. And if we switch it to our best case, we expect our price to be 25, and it is 25 here. So this enables us to see what happens if our prices are 10% lower or 10% higher, and the impact that will have on our business and our profitability. Then the third thing that we need to think about is inflation. Now, prices are generally increasing year over year, and you need to build in the flexibility to show these automatic price increases as time goes by. So if we go to our model here in this setup tab, we have an inflation, our annual inflation in the direct cost. So here we have 4%, and we can change this to whatever we want. So if we think that in the next year the prices are going to go up by 5%, we will change this to 5%. If we think that After that, the prices will only go up by 4%. We can leave all this as 4%. So if we go back to our workings, or our inputs rather, so our model starts in November and our price is 28. So we expect that 1 year from now, our prices should increase by 5%. 1 year from now is November of 2024. So you can see that now our price has gone from 28 in our base case to 29.4 because of that 5% increase because of that 5% inflationary increase. And we can see that change is applied in all scenarios. In our best case, the price goes from 25.2 to 26.5, and in our worst case, the price goes from 30.8 to 32.3. So this is automated, and it's very easy for us to change the inflationary rate. And then finally, the last thing we really need to think about while modeling direct costs is the impact of working capital. Now we'll do a whole separate video for working capital, but generally speaking, for direct costs, you tend to pay for goods before you receive them. Again, depending on the size of your business. If you're a large business and you have a lot of bargaining power with your suppliers, you could actually negotiate for them to give you goods on credit. That is, they give you the goods and you pay later. But in most cases and for most businesses, they either have to pay on delivery or before the goods are delivered. Now this is critical because if you're paying for goods before they're delivered or on delivery, money is going out of your business before you've actually made the sale. So that means that you have to have an investment in your working capital. You have to have the money with you at the moment for you to pay for those goods so that you can eventually sell them. And your financial model has to reflect that because that affects your cash flow. You have to show that you need that cash before you make the sale. So if we go back to our financial model here, so we can see for each cost item, we have this drop down that enables us to pick when we make the payment for the goods. So for example, we're saying our purchase cost, we pay for it 2 months before we make the actual sale. So we can change this to say 3 months. And then our logistic costs, we say that we pay for that 1 month before the sale. Commissions, we can say are paid for in the month of sale, and maybe our other direct costs, we could say 2 months before the sale. So what this helps us know is that, for example, this $4, if we're selling this item in January of 2024, we know that we have to pay this $4 2 months prior, which is in November of 2024, and we can reflect that in our cash flow. Once again, we'll do a separate video on working capital, but it's very, very critical that when you're modeling your direct costs, you think about the impact of your working capital. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Please share the video with your friends or anyone you think might find this helpful. And as always, if you want access to the financial model that we're using in these videos, the link is in the description below. Thank you so much, and see you in the next one.